April 2025. A few weeks before the Conclave, the halls of the Apostolic Palace were unusually tense. The death of the previous pope left a void. Cardinals gathered, alliances shifted, whispers spread. As Swiss guards, we sensed it. Unusual orders, increased patrols, restricted access, sealed doors. Files moved in the dead of night. Vaults that had remained untouched for decades were reopened. I was posted near the dicastery for bishops, the office responsible for nominating new bishops. I had seen letters marked urgent, dossiers wrapped in black ribbons, and faces of clerics who avoided eye contact. I filed nothing. Guards are never privy to politics. But that night changed everything. One evening, a Monsignor arrived at our post in a plain black cassock. He held a sealed envelope, no symbol, no stamp, only a handwritten number code. "Escort me to the inner archives," he said. I locked the gates, guided him through deserted corridors, silence heavy. At the archive entrance, I recognized the archivist's hesitation. He whispered, "There's no entry authorization." But the Monsignor pressed on. He showed a fold of parchment from the papal secretariat. The archivist hesitated, glancing at me. Finally, the vault opened. Inside, rows of forgotten books, old parchments, sealed folders. Under an oil lamp, a single dossier, thick, worn, tied with black ribbon. Title stamp barely visible. The Monsignor retrieved it, turned, and left. My orders were clear. You saw nothing, report nothing. Days passed. The conclave began. The guards were assigned to extra security, ensuring silence around the Sistine Chapel, the Domus Sancte Marte. Then came the election. White smoke, crowds, chants, Habemus Papam. Pope Leo XIV, first American, a new dawn, hope for renewal. The night after the announcement, I returned to my quarters, exhausted. A friendly aide knocked. He looked nervous. "Guard Muller, do you believe reform is possible?" he whispered, eyes darting. I nodded. He slid me a small USB drive. "Look, discreetly, later." The drive contained dossiers, hundreds of pages long, lists of dioceses, names of prelates, notes about Curia influence, transfers of money, and worst, letters dealing with control of seminaries, key diocesan appointments, and liturgical legislation. The more I read, the heavier the air around me felt. This was not internal politics. This was manipulation of souls, of faith, of future generations. The Vatican gossip mill spun fast. Rumors of reassignments, forced resignations, blessed retirements. On clerical chat networks, some priests spoke of invisible lines of power. Cardinals communicated with shady intermediaries. As guard, I overheard fragments. Once the new bishops are in, the old liturgies can be gradually limited. No need for noise. Once the majority is ours, we rewrite tradition. The next conclave will be ours. I felt cold, because I realized this is not about doctrine. It's about control. Two of my comrades, Guards Fisher and Weber, were reassigned abruptly. No explanation, only a folder, immediate release from service. 3 more followed days later. The official statement: incompatibility with required neutrality, grave breach of conduct. Just when the newly elected Pope was addressing millions in St. Peter's Square, the Church announced the dismissal of certain guard personnel. The irony cut deep. We had defended the Vatican. We had taken oaths, but we were expendable. Back then, I believed it was a purge of idealists, but I was wrong. It was a purge of witnesses. My uniform was stripped. My identification revoked. I was escorted out with the same gravity a criminal deserves. No farewell, no thanks, just silence. In those first nights outside the walls, Rome felt empty, cold. I replayed faces, conversations, files. In my pocket, the USB. In my memory, the names, the dates, the corridors. I started reaching out quietly to fellow dismissed guards. Fischer was in his small apartment, staring at his little son sleeping. Weber was packing his bags. 2 others already left Italy. We became ghosts. No more duty, no more identity. Only a question. What now? On the 5th night, I received a message on a secure channel. No sender ID, no signature, just a phrase. Meet at Santa Ana Gate, midnight, 5 guards. My heart stopped. Could this be a trap? Or an act of mercy? I contacted the others, reluctant, fearful, but something inside us burned, a need for truth. At midnight, we gathered 2 blocks from the gate. No uniforms, no halberds, just 5 former guards. Pontelli, the night watchman, opened the gate. He didn't speak. He just nodded and pointed to the corridor. 3 doors down, room 12. We entered. The room was small, candle-lit. No guards, no cardinals, only one man, the Pope. He stood behind a small wooden desk, wearing a simple white cassock. No red mozzetta, no papal regalia. His eyes fixed on us. We stood rigid. 5 men, once protectors of the chair of Peter, now accused, expelled, abandoned. He spoke in a low, calm voice. You were removed, not for what you believed, but for what you saw. He opened a drawer, pulled out a thick dossier, stamped confidential, congregation oversight, spread its contents, names, signatures, dates, cross-references, documents that amounted to proof, secret alliances, financial transfers, vote rigging, influence peddling. He showed us. He risked everything. And then he whispered, "If you speak, they will destroy it all. But I will protect you. I will restore you." We knelt. He prayed with us, rosary on marble floor. 5 former guards, a pope, united in truth. When we stood again, he embraced each of us, a father for lost sons. What you just heard is not fiction, not rumor, because the dossier exists, the names exist, the corridors remain. I don't know if justice will truly come, but I know that the night the Pope became a target, I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. Now the archives are open, and the truth is about to speak.
And so this is where the truth finally stands. The documents have been revealed, the shadows exposed, and the silent war that once unfolded behind Vatican walls has lost its power to hide. Pope Leo XIV restored those who had been cast out, dismantled the network that sought to control the Church from within, and sealed the archives with his own hand, not to bury the truth, but to mark the end of an era built on secrecy. I walked away from those walls for the last time knowing the battle had changed me forever. Yet I also knew this. When darkness rises within the heart of the Church, it is not the marble, nor the robes, nor the institutions that endure, but the few who dare to speak when silence is demanded. What happened will never be fully written in official records, but it lives in the memories of those who witnessed it. And now, at last, it lives in yours.